Just kind of, I guess that just kind of came from the heart. It's called Dear Boys. All right. Long ago, the gardener planted a tree. It grew higher than all the other trees, more beautiful than anything the garden had ever seen. Soon, the tree bore fruit, feeding people from all around. They had never tasted anything so sweet that had come from this ground. They ate and were satisfied. But one day, the tree was poisoned, and the fruit, though sweet to the taste, became bitter to their hearts. The fruit kept growing, and the harvesting kept going, but no matter how much they picked it, it never started slowing, and they could never keep up. They grew weary and tired, exhausted and overwhelmed. For years they picked the fruit the best they could, only to see it grow back in greater number more than it should. And all the while, the roots of the tree speared deeper and deeper, infecting everything around them. It was the roots that carried the poison. The roots were its keeper. The roots that grew this terrible fruit. And it was then that the people saw that to change the fruit, they had to first change the roots. So, to get right to the point today, I've got a little game I'd like y'all to play. It's called, how many guys do you actually know that treat women the way they're supposed to be treated? Now, for most of us, the game doesn't go on for very long. We think of broken relationships and times women have been used, degraded, and abused, and the list goes on and on and on. Now, I'm not perfect, I confess, I'm still a work in progress, but I feel there's an issue here we need to address. So, dear boys, I don't think it's a secret that most women have insecurities that are pretty much thanks to us. That most of our desires have become lusts, and as men, in general, we've lost women's trust. But I mean, we didn't do anything wrong, so what's the big fuss? But we did, we have, and we are. And our ridiculous expectations of misogyny have left an internal scar. Not just on women, but on the hearts of men and who we really are. I think we have to go further than the symptoms and into the core, into our heart and knock on the forbidden door. Because the scars are a lot bigger than just putting on a Band-Aid and taking her out to dinner. The problem's a lot deeper than just waiting to have sex till you think she's a keeper. The disease needs a little more attention, a little more inspection. And hopefully as boys we can learn to control our erections, and maybe we'll find a correction to this darkened hearts of men. So, let's attack this at the roots. And this may shake you out of your boots, but first, guys, stop watching porn. If I told you, as a guy, that I think it's disgusting and I wouldn't watch it for $100, you'd look at me and say, now what the fudge? Pornography. A man-made invention intended for recreation turned into the world's quietest addiction. I've fallen too, caught in the trance, and we're part of the 95% of teenage boys who never stood a chance. We were young and innocent and curious, and society said it was fine, the world was at our fingertips. So our common sense had us convinced that it was only natural. So naturally, we followed the yellow brick road of secrecy, seeking the secret affections of women we would never even meet. Well, that's the plan, right? Get boys with no defense who then become consumers for life. In a country where the average age of first exposure is now around 7. So if you ask me, the land of the free is pretty far from heaven. Now, I know stopping watching porn sounds absurd because it's part of your lives. It's a ritual, it's a habit, you do it all the time. It doesn't seem wrong, it seems right, it feels so good. But just because it feels good doesn't mean you should. Have you ever thought of what it's doing to your mind and to your heart? Have you ever thought that it was a little messed up and degrading towards the women's part? Because it's funny how sex slavery is disgusting until it's on our phone or computer screens, and how rape is wrong unless it's in one of those scenes. Because I guarantee you none of those women want to be where they are. No one wants to sell their body in front of a camera for men from afar. When you watch porn, you view women as objects. To say that doesn't happen is utter nonsense. Remember how scared and guilty you felt when you first saw that clip, and how you knew if Mom found out she'd definitely flip? Well, Mama wouldn't believe her eyes if she had seen what these eyes have seen, and I'm tired of trying to clean myself up by deleting my website history. Well, maybe those feelings were right and pornography is wrong, and maybe you've just become numb and are singing along to the wrong song. Maybe your innocence was blinded, and maybe it's our job to find it. Because isn't it true how our culture raped the beauty of sex, and yet we were the ones who ended up being abused? Pornography gave us unreal expectations for women, how they should look and how they should behave, and if we don't stop it, it'll take us to the grave. So let's do some math. Subtract the values of manhood and chivalry, and add the boys who only get with girls to hide their insecurities and feed their fantasies. Now, minus the beauty stolen from girls who add makeup to make up for who that guy wants them to be, and that equals a pretty messed up society. When you feed your addiction feeds on you. And the things you play with in high school, when you're adult, they'll play with you. Now, listen to my voice. Addiction may be a burden, but freedom is a choice. And victory isn't a retreat, it's a pursuit. So men, stop craving her pussy and stop staring at her tushy. Because the moment you lust, you lose the ability to love. So let's kill the evil fruits by taking it out at the root. And men, learn to love over lust. Kill the pride inside and rescue yourself from the poverty of misogyny. Let's put some light in our broken hearts. Let's learn what it means to be a man. Sincerely, men.
Woo! Well, yeah.